Status Podcast.
How much it cost for you to go like Marietta?
38,000
A year?
Now it's 45.
45 a year. Is it like a private institution?
Yeah.
I know for Kent, it was like, I want to say like 20, 25, around that range. Because I think a year out of state.
Oh yeah, I was in-state in-state for Marietta was way less. It was like 24.
Yeah, I want to say in-state might be like
15.
20.
Kent State was in the teens,
Yeah.
bro.
Or it might be like 18, 19 then.
Yeah, Pitt,
I think that's what UConn was.
Pitt was in the teens as well for a while, and then it went up to 27,000 recently. Cal U still in the teens for in-state. All BSAC schools, most of them are in the teens. A couple of them are like $25,000 a year. Crazy, right?
BC. Yeah, we was talking about BC. C7.
7.
Yeah.
70 a year?
I mean, like, well, as soon as I see one slip in the grade, I'm like, yo, what you doing? What's going on?
Listen, you ain't hear what he said. 70 years.
Hello, and thank you for tuning into the Status Podcast, where Dana, Ty, and Zay encourage student athletes to take action to universally succeed. The Status Podcast is designed to achieve encompassment of the student athlete and their journeys while navigating multiple avenues. Our goal is to discuss, analyze, and create powerful ways that our student athletes can benefit from using their platform to grow holistically. The Status Podcast will feature topics that can open the eyes of student athletes to endless possibilities in sports and beyond. We, as former student athletes, are passionate about the student athlete experience and using our personal testimonies to repurpose the journey of the life, sports, and education. We plan to capitalize on opportunities to speak on topics regarding the wellness of student athletes, both physically and mentally. We will use our voices to empower and supply the world's athletes with tools to be successful during and after their student athlete experience. Be sure to follow our Instagram at status412_.
Yeah, I think that leads us into the topic for the day. You know what I mean?
Right.
Should student athletes be paid?
Right.
It's a lot of people think about that and they say, well, they're getting a free ride to college.
Right. I know. What I heard a lot is that same answer that you're getting a free scholarship. So you put in terms that Kent State maybe costs out of state $25,000 a year. So 25 times 4, that's 100K. You know what I mean? 100K. So you're at the end of the day, they call it an investment. So they look at you as an investment. So with investment, you're taking a risk. You know what I mean? So not every investment works out. I went to school with guys who they invested in who failed out after a year as a bad investment. So I think they look at it like on that type term where these guys are spending 100K. I don't got different. This is their money. This is what they're getting paid for. And the NCAA gets out on so many student athletes because they're a $1 billion industry that don't have to pay their employees.
And they're telling you in the education over and over again. Free education.
That's what they keep marketing.
And I think
they keep marketing.
I think with a lot of things that aren't being told about is a lot of the times, you can attest to this, we don't really have that much say into like that's what we really want to do.
Yeah,
like
sure.
you know what I mean? They have the best interest for the program, I feel like. And not the best interest for us most of the time. Now you'll come across some advisors who develop that relationship with you, who'll give you some personal, advice. But majority of the time, the coaches, the higher ups are coming to what can we do to get Tom Brown eligible? What can we do to do this? X, Y, and Z. So at the end of the day, they're protecting their investment.
And it's funny because you say, what can we do to get Ty eligible? Not what can we do to get Ty a job once he leaves? You know what I mean? The thing is, how can we get him on the field opposed to how can we make him successful for after the field?
Yeah, no, and I think going to Kent State opened my eyes up a little bit because there were some people up there that really did care about us as athletes because I think that everywhere. We took a class, there was a few of us that took a class and it was all athlete class. It's called Life After Sports. So they give you the ins and outs of to try to help you with what you're going to do after your life, which has been sports the whole time. So you got to figure that out. And that was probably a great class, one of the best classes that I took because it was so real. And so it made me realize, like, taking that class, like, after sports, made you realize, like, what am I doing after this? Like, I've been playing football for the last 19, 18 years, since White Oak Tiger days, all that. What am I doing now? It's because growing up, it was league or bust. That was the mindset, league or bust.
That's most people's mindset, especially in the city.
Yeah, because the way we come up, we feel that we can't succeed unless it's on the football field, the hoop court, the baseball field, whatever sport you play.
So with that being said, like you talk about, but you gotta get a free education, but in reality, it's a free piece of paper because you're not getting the educational experience, right? A lot of kids are not able to get the internships that most of the kids who don't play sports play because they're they don't have the time to do it.
And then
Too much time being demanded.
Too much time being demanded.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you're not really
Student
athletes don't have the time. So student athletes, they're getting a piece of paper, but they're not getting the educational experience. And educational experience is what you really need to be successful once you graduate. Because you got a piece of paper, and you're like, okay, I got a degree from Boston College. You're like, okay, well, what did you do in the midst of getting that degree? What type of experience did you have? What type of internship did you have? If you look at a lot of job openings, like, I want a bachelor's degree and 2 or 3 years of experience.
It'll pay you 15 an hour.
It'll pay you 15 an hour. And it's like, where am I getting this experience as a student athlete? Whenever you're...
You meant to tell me I paid more to go to college a year and I'm getting paid after? That's the happiness problem.
Like, your extra time is going to be for your sport. The extra time that a regular student has on campus is going to be for internship. It's going to be for job shadowing. Right. Like, those are the type of things that you have to try to squeeze into your schedule as a student athlete.
And speaking like the internships, I know for us, a lot of us, I remember doing an internship with maybe 4 of us with our strength and conditioning coach. Yeah. It's because it's just like there's easy access right there, right after the workout, go shower, stay there.
And your school can tell recruits we're having internships in our athletic practice.
Wow. That's so.
And don't get me wrong, I enjoyed it. Yeah. As far as I learned so much, our strength coach, rest in peace, Coach Davis. Right. Man, great guy. He made me, I ain't work out, but once he came to junior year and developed a relationship, he made you want to work out. He understood the athlete, so I don't. Let me get that clear. I didn't mind doing the internship with him. I learned a lot from him.
Yeah.
But
that's crazy. That's real.
Then you get the internship, you get that experience, you get to say, I did this internship, but like, unless you are passionate about being a strength coach, where's that game?
Right. Jump into that?
Would I?
Yeah.
I would say I won't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I
can see you ordering pizza. What you doing?
So with that being said, what's your take on student athletes being paid?
I think we should get paid. Not we, but student athletes, I think we should get paid. I think they put so much time in. I think at the end of the day, especially kids that come from environments of how we come up, I think that's why we don't finish school so often, because we come to a junior year, I'm 3 and I'm out. I'm 3 and I'm out. We see the NBA players, they just need one and done. Or back in the day when they was doing high school, we gotta go to college. And then you see.
Think about bringing that back too.
Say, look, you from this city next to me. I see you just go to the league. You watch your mom in the car. I'm also around the station way. You living in the project.
Right.
I'm 3 and out.
No.
I need some type of form. So I think as student athletes should get paid. I think student athletes should get paid because financially you're not stable in college.
Man.
How many times? I remember freshman year. You probably tested it. I had oodles and noodles for Thanksgiving.
100%.
100%. So I think we should get paid.
What you think?
Man, listen, bro. That lifestyle is like people embrace it so much. Have embraced it. Well, first of all, I say,
you think student athletes should be paid?
100% yes, bro. But I'm saying that, I think student athletes should be paid.
So why should student athletes be paid in your opinion?
Because they don't deserve to eat noodles on Thanksgiving, bro. You understand what I'm saying? Very point blank. You understand what I'm saying? Like, that's it. Because I've been there. And that's just like a feeling like, bro, that type of stuff made me leave school. That's what I really want to get into. You know what I mean? Like that type of stuff really made me leave college because I felt like I had to pay $60 for a ride back home every time I went to the bird. You know what I mean? From Marietta, something a lot for real. So and I want some. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna get into no trouble, no extra stuff. So student athletes deserve to be paid, bro, on every level. B1, B2, B3.
I'm with you. I think student athletes should be paid too. And I think, in my opinion, I think the NCAA is taking major strides in taking care of the student athletes. Like the student athletes, they're able to get stipends.
Oh, yeah.
The name, image, and likeness is coming out. So in what role do you think student athletes should be paid? Do you think they should get the stipend like the NCAA is providing? Do you think they should be on payroll? Do you think they should be on salary? What do you think?
I personally think stipend, because then when you get into the payroll, now you're getting into a competition. You know what I mean? So how do you expect Kent State to compete with Boston College? It's $25,000 a year to go to Kent State compared to $70,000. You got more money just on tuition. Okay, so when you get into the payroll thing, now you're getting into the competition. Oh, coming to Alabama rather than USC because I'll throw you an extra $5,000. So I think the stipend is the way to go when you want to pay these athletes because, like I said, you got to avoid that competition because now that's just going to fall into whose pockets are deeper.
So do you think that student athletes should be paid from the university or from the NCAA? With that,
I think you split it because you think about the revenue that a college and a student athlete brings to the institution. So, for example, for my experience, when we played Alabama the year they won the national championship with Trent Richardson and AJ McCarron and guys, they paid us $1.2 million to go down there and play. 1.2. Out of that 1.2 million, how much did we see? Us that played that game. Now, granted, they might have got it, and after the years we came, or even disperse it amongst the other sports or whatnot. And so I think you maybe get a couple thousand from the NCAA in the first opening of the semester, then toward the end of the semester, the university comes in, pay their stipend, and then the same for the following semester. So I think you get paid twice, one from the NCAA, beginning of the year, once again at the end of the semester from
Should they base it on performance?
the university.
Should they base it on performance?
No.
Not at all.
So in my opinion, I think it all should come from NCAA. I don't think the institutions have enough money to pay the student athletes. Most institutions are in the red after the season, after cost compared to the revenue. Most of them are in the red. I think there's less than 10 schools who profit off of athletics. There's less than 10 schools who profit off of athletics at the university.
And what conference are those? Like, where do they align at as far as, like, let's say, for example, Penn State?
Yeah, I think Penn State's there. You got Texas, you got Penn State. I don't think you got Ohio State, you got Michigan. So you're like in a Big 10, Big 12.
USC maybe.
I don't even think Alabama profits off of athletics.
I don't think they do either, but then we got a couple good sports teams.
Yeah.
Well, and you think, I would personally think that smaller schools will benefit a little bit more off of athletics because you get the bigger schools to dish out that bigger money to
come play.
right. So I would think because you name those schools and not hearing a smaller school, I would have thought, hey, I would think a mid-major school would be in there because they're getting paid
So
XYZ to come lose. Really, that's what it is.
XYZ is always a factor.
A lot of the athletic departments are depending on the university to give them money to kind of even out what they're losing for cost.
Okay. So why can't the NCAA go in and help the athletic departments out?
I mean, they could, but like it'll be tough
That's
to
why
say, okay, I'm going to give you guys $20 million because you need it, but I'm only going to give you guys $5 million to not have everybody on the same
Performance. That's basically on performance almost. You know what I mean? Like you said. But listen to y'all two talk, and like you said, y'all had the experiences. You know what I mean? And that's just what it is. What I'm explaining, what I wanted to. I had a question for both of y'all because it was like I kind of forgot it. And then I want to get into the stipend and the payroll because, bro, listen, it's so wild to think about the levels of teams. You know what I mean? First of all, I don't know. I haven't experienced it, like I said. So it's like it's kind of different. You know what I mean? For me on the outside looking in, it's like I watch sports as a fan. You know what I mean? As more than going through the hardships. You know what I mean? So basically, what I'm saying is the money deserves to be obviously like divvied up between every school. I personally think it's based on performance. You know what I mean? I go through that, y'all. It should be that way because if you bring money in and you keep generating, and that's what you deserve. The same schools go back to Alabama. You know what I mean? There's certain teams that are just have famous alumni. You know what I mean? They have people that they have way more people in the NFL or NBA that people donate back to the school. You know what I'm saying? So you have to really do your research. The NCAA obviously let, you know what I mean, some people go if they are making money. It's so much smoke and mirrors, bro.
So,
you know what I mean?
so here's my question: if you think it should be based on performance, are schools now able to fire student athletes if
They
they
already
don't
are.
perform?
They already are. Just like you said about the scholarships. That's what you said. You have no say, bro. That's what I'm trying to explain. In the same way, I'm glad you asked that question because what it comes down to is you're on a scholarship. You get your education, your grades drop. Yo, your grades are dropping. What you gonna do? You gotta pick them up. Your performance, you don't start. Coaches,
But what about your athletic performance? You think they should now send them home? So like say I go to UConn and they expect me to be a starter as a redshirt freshman and that don't pan out. They say, all right, you're not what we thought you're going to be.
I feel like that's happening already.
I'm going no.
I think that when student athletes are getting put out, I feel it's strictly grades. They flunked out. They're not doing what they got to do in the classroom. They're being cancer to the team.
That's what I'm saying right there. They went like you're the team indefinitely.
But even like student athletes who are cancers to the team, but they're getting it done in the classroom, they might kick them off the team and they'll figure it out from there, or like come up with a plan to let's figure this out.
Yeah.
So, as long as you're doing what you got to do in the classroom, they're not going to turn their back on you. They're like, nah,
That's crazy.
And
Y'all ever been through anything like that?
I haven't been through anything like that, but I've seen guys who have been suspended for X amount of time. But they put themselves in that situation. They broke the drug policy. They're failing their classes. Like it's not because they're not performing on the field.
Right.
Everything that has to do with the student athlete being suspended indefinitely has to do with off the field issues.
You guys think if somebody gets hurt, bro, senior year of high school, they lose so much. You understand what I'm saying? It's crazy. It starts from there. That's what I'm saying. It's such a moment. That moment. You know what I mean?
So what's the number? What you think student athletes should be paid per semester?
Per semester. Okay, so per semester, I think we can, and I'm gonna be let's say
You're in a stipend, right?
Yeah, I'm in stipend. So at the beginning of the semester, are we talking on top of our Pell Grant and?
No, because not everybody gets the Pell Grant.
Does everybody? Okay, so just the straight stipend. All right. So just straight stipend. Let's say $7,000.
$7,000 per semester?
For each player, for all of them, for
All
all 100,
scholarship players.
all 100.
$7,000 per semester.
So you think? So I think payroll, honestly, bro.
So So you saying salary or you think hourly?
I think
They get 40 hours a week
At least. That's by the book.
during the season.
This is the thing. If it was salary, they would have to finish every semester. You understand what I'm saying? Or finish that month. You understand? If it was like a salary. Like
So what are you saying? What do you think?
That's a hard one right there, bro. But me personally, I don't say salary. I say hourly for sure. Just because it's a job. It is a job. It's a job. You know what I mean?
So how much an hour they should be paid?
I think it depends on what school you're at. I really believe that because of the money that's being generated. Because you could literally waste your money on a player. A player can leave, bro, in his first year of getting paid. You understand what I'm saying?
So that means the school will have to pay the student athlete.
It's got to be
And
beneficial for everybody.
most schools don't have the capacity to do that.
Right. That's what I'm saying. That's what I asked about the
So I'm gonna follow up that, and I say the 7,000. So that obviously, I think that come from the NCAA, 7,000 beginning of the semester, and then I think that when the school come in, like I said, at the end of the semester, that's based on completion of your schedule, your fall semesters, you're passing all your classes, you get that stipend at the end.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if you say you got your full-time schedule, student athlete, you got 18 credit hours, 15 credit hours, whatever.
Full-time is 12.
Can I ask a question? After this, go ahead.
All right, so you're a full-time student athlete, 12 credit hours, whatever the case may be, and you only pass 3 of those credit hours, you don't get you can't. You don't qualify for this stipend at the end. Now you qualify for being a scholarship athlete at the beginning of the year from the NCAA, but here at my institution, you're not passing, you're not doing what you got to do in the class, you don't qualify for this $5,000 stipend.
Damn.
So potentially each student athlete could potentially get $12,000 each semester, coming to $24,000 a year as a collegiate athlete, which is, I think, is more than enough. Because with $24,000, some of our moms wasn't even getting that while we're sending money back home while we're up there getting the most of the money we did.
Yeah, so if I play devil's advocate here,
Okay.
that money that's coming from the institution, it's not coming from the athletic department. It can't, because most students,
You said it's in the red.
most
They're already
athletic
paid,
departments
yeah,
are in
forever.
the red, so it would have to come from the university. So the university is going to pay the athletes, but they're not going to pay the academic scholarship kids on
It's
campus.
a dilemma.
So all right, let me ask you, because you know a little bit more at the collegiate level, as far as finance and revenues and whatnot. So me as a college athlete, I play for your football team. Obviously, we're bringing in money. So where did that money go to?
You gotta pay concession, obviously, you gotta pay security, you gotta pay, the janitors, you gotta pay for travel, team travel. You think about Boston College, we got 31 sports. You know what I mean? So
got
they're-
everything.
everybody's
Cross
hockey, everybody's traveling, coaches' salaries.
Y'all make bread.
There's a bunch of expenses that
The university covers.
that the university covers. I think, at a lot of schools, it's probably north of $10 to $20 million that the university contributes to the athletic department because they're in the red that much
It's
money.
crazy. So let me ask you, knowing that, what you just spoke of, you say stipend, correct? So what's the stipend amount that you think a student athlete should receive from the NCAA?
I think stipend, between 12 and 1,500 per semester should be good enough. You think about student athletes get free meals if they're on scholarship. They get free meals. They don't have to pay for room and board. I think the extra money is, say the dining hall is closing at 7 o'clock. At UConn, the dining hall is closed at 7 o'clock. If you ain't got the money, you ain't eating past 7. You know what I'm saying? So that extra money, man, whenever the dining halls are not open, or if they want to, go out for entertainment,
It's
things
so hard.
like that, because they don't really need much more than what they have. But there is a struggle, right? Dining halls are
How
closed.
often do you miss the dining hall? Every day, right?
A lot. Dining halls are closed on holidays. They need something to eat. There's student athletes whose family is struggling. They can't even come see them play.
Come
So
pick
they
them
get
up from school. That's
so
what I'm
that
saying.
that 1,500, you know what I mean? 1,500 to 2,000. They can
Greyhound.
pay for their family to come up to a couple games.
Okay, so you said dining hall being closed. I know we had like mandatory training tables. So that, in a sense, can also be covered up for. All right, you say the dining hall closed. We feeding our student athletes breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You expect to come back to the stadium, wherever it is, to come eat. So you saying that? All right. So why should we do that when we're feeding you guys also?
Yeah, I mean, our meals was from 5 to 7.
They give y'all training. What's the training?
Training table was 5 to 7.
Me personally, training was trash.
Yes, training table is like from 5 to 7. And then you got study hall. And me, I want to eat before I go to bed. I'm in study hall till 9, 10 o'clock. I'm trying to get some food.
Okay, so between 1,200 to 1,500 each semester, correct?
Yeah.
So
I think that's
our ultimate goal we was talking about before is trying to take care of the athlete. Let's do the best interest of the athlete. Is the best interest of the athlete giving them $1,200 to $1,500 when you know the struggle and you know what it's like for their family at home? Don't you think if we give them a little bit more, we will keep them in school, they wouldn't be out and not come back? Because a lot of them don't come back and graduate once they leave for the league. You get a select few that do, but I think maybe if we maybe not to the 7,000 I said. Maybe all right, let's go about 4,000, 5,000. I think we will get a lot more student athletes finish and graduate.
Yeah, because they're able to stay and they're able to be comfortable financially on
Right.
campus. You know what I mean? And they're able to support the home life.
Right,
You know what I
absolutely.
mean? But I'm with you on that. You know, I can see that. But also, I think the university, well, not the university, but the NCAA is moving in the right direction. You're talking about name, image, and likeness,
Right.
which is another topic that we can talk about for a long time. But student athletes now have the ability to make money off of who they are. You know, as an athlete.
And-
Whenever we was in school, though, like the stipend and all that, we struggled whenever we was in school because we got nothing. We got the Pell Grant, which we was all so stupid with.
Man.
What did you do with the Pell Grant?
Listen, my first year, bought me a PS3. You know what PS3? Bought me a flat screen TV. Got every Jordan that came out. When me and my brother Pope, we went to the Polo outlets.
Yeah.
We went to the Polo outlet. I dropped.
Bitcoin at $200.
100%.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We would have bought Bitcoin at
Yeah, we-
$200 or Amazon at $97.
We wouldn't even be here right now. Doing
Punch in the air.
You know what I'm saying?
We'd be in our own building.
I was
Punch in
talking
the
to
air
my
right
boy.
now.
I was talking
Hey.
to my boy. We got like from the Pell Grant, we was probably like north of $30,000 over the 4 years I was there. We got it like $3,000 a semester or something like that. North of $30,000 when we was there, and we got nothing to show for it. So I think you have to pass a financial literacy class in order to get the stipend.
That should be a requirement your freshman year. With all your other requirements that you gotta take, that's a great idea.
That's a great
I
idea.
honestly think because even think about it. I know for me personally, I never was taught from teachers, parents,
Okay.
cousins, whatever about credit, anything financial.
The stock market's the biggest one.
Man, I
Real
learned
estate.
as we go. Learn as we go. Up until I was 25 years old, 26 years old is when I started educating myself on these things.
Yeah.
So you think I wasted in that time 10 years, 16 to 26? What? Nothing, like you said, nothing to show for.
Nothing to show
I got a beautiful daughter to show for. That's it.
It's crazy to me,
That's
bro.
it.
It's listen, to think about that, I'm thinking, unless you want to major in accounting or, you know what I mean, those things before you even get to school business.
Which
whatever.
is a beast of its own, being a student athlete trying to major in business.
Yeah, anything, economics.
Like, some schools make it work, but that is hard.
Yeah,
It's hard.
I can only imagine, but then that goes back to if you're coming from an environment where you're already struggling, it's so hard to want to stay for 4 years. You know what I mean, if you're 16 and you're excelling, and you're probably gonna go in the draft early. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't know. I can't. You know what I mean? I don't 100% know on that. But
You know, I think, like you said, taking that class and then giving them a little bit more, it will keep our student athletes in school more to get that degree.
1,000%.
Because knowledge is wealth. Take it back to when we talked about you and you said, I'm gonna do these 3 years. I'm thinking about going. Now, and you come from a strong background with family. Now, imagine that mindset on the same person who don't have that same strong foundation that you had.
It's enhanced by
That's what I'm saying. So it's like, man, I gotta take care of my mom, my dad in jail, my dad in around, whatever the case may be. I gotta take care of my little, I'm out. Hey, coach, I'm out. You know what I mean? I thank you, appreciate it. You know what I mean?
I got responsibility.
Right, I got responsibility.
People are counting on me.
Now, if you give me a little bit more money, all right, now moms know, son, get your knowledge. All right, mom, here go $3,000. You do what you gotta do, whatever,
And the biggest thing, injury. Whenever you get hurt, whenever you're on your way to the draft. You understand what I'm saying? So the money, sometimes, that's a big thing that's really going to help. The financial literacy classes will show people, will show the student athletes like, yo, it can go left. Period point blank. Period point blank. You know what I mean? Save your bread. The money that you're making, don't just think that it has to be used and blown here in college. No, you know what I mean? That's like a big thing, like you said, because that's something that the schools always, well, they don't leave out. You know what I mean? But I feel like most coaches, ain't nobody talking about that. Talking about injury.
Coaches, there's a lot of coaches who care about their student athletes, but they care about that win-loss column a lot
I was
more.
thinking that.
That's their life.
That's their livelihood. They got
Everybody got livelihoods.
And if you don't, if our student athletes are not producing on
crazy.
the field, they don't got no money to feed their family.
I feed my family at the end of the day. I had, think about it, you probably had good, at the end of the day, this is how I feed my family. You know what I mean? I need the best out of you because this is how I feed my family.
Wow.
I'm dependent on you to feed my family. You know what I mean? So why not enhance my situation, my livelihood a little bit?
Time.
Pay me a little bit.
What do you think makes a guy like Nick Saban or Urban Meyer such a not even an alpha, but like a leader in the college industry? You know what I mean? 'Cause that's what it is, industry now for sure.
Yeah.
What do you think? What do you think makes him such a leader to be able to stay at these colleges and get kids to listen to him and stuff? Like you said, you wear two different.
And honestly, you say being a leader. I think that's what it is. You know what I mean? You have to develop a system for people under you to buy into. And that's what Nick Saban, Urban Meyer, and all those guys are able to do. They're able to develop a system that they have not only the players, but the coaching staff, the support staff, you know what I mean, the nutritionists, the strength coaches, the entire state of Alabama buys into this vision that he has. Anybody's vision can work. If you got people that's going to buy in and help you, you know what I mean, complete that ultimate goal, that's what it takes, man.
And you bring up those two coaches, great coaches. I remember Reed and Nick Saban said a quote similar to great coaches never stop learning. So I think that attitude and willing to really learn, he takes that into his recruiting process. He really buys into wanting to know that kid, wanting to know their story, wanting to let as you're allow me to take your son under my wing, and trust me, I got him. So once that mother or that father feel that comfort, and he's able to build that relationship, because a lot of times when you hear people say Nick Saban comes off when he's coaching, he know how to take coaching and leave it on the field. Not a lot of coaches know how to do that. You know what I mean? So I think that's why he's so successful. So let me ask you, in the future, after we're paying these student athletes for how many number of years, do we get into the discussion of high school student athletes?
No, never.
Never?
Because what do you have to base it on? McKeesport.
Look at competition-wise.
Look at McKeesport. Like, we struggle to pay teachers. We struggle to pay administrators. We can't pay student athletes unless you're going to make the taxpayers raise the taxes because you're going to give the starting quarterback $10 an hour.
Right. So then, what about the bigger schools like that's in California?
What about Texas?
Yeah, Texas, where their head coach getting paid the same as our teachers.
Yeah.
So
just the coach.
Just the coach. Not even teaching class. Just their head coach. Just the coach.
You mean high school?
That's their job, like the coach. And they're on a schedule where they go 5 a.m., this and that. College-like stadium. Look, remember Allen High School? We looked at their stadium. It's huge.
$60 million stadium.
So what about them schools like down there?
You can't do that. I don't think you can pay high school student athletes. I think there's
away
too
from it
much.
too.
Yeah, you're taking away from the sport. The maturity level's not there yet.
At some point, you do gotta respect the sports.
You do respect the sport. You always respect the sport. Paying student athletes, no.
I feel like that should be a big thing.
High school.
That should be a big thing, like you said about financial literacy. That class about just respecting the game, keeping that not making it about money. Because college, I always told myself that college, I love college sports more because they're playing for the front of the jersey, the name. People always say instead of the name on the back of the jersey, pro athletes per se. But in a sense, though, the deeper we get into this conversation, you realize more and more that it's for the back of the jersey still. You know what I mean? College athlete, because your whole family's riding on that. Like what Mark was talking about, having a son going into his freshman year, going into his sophomore year, being born. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And you're playing for the back of your
You're
last name.
but not everybody's situation is like that.
Yeah, not everybody is.
We can't keep labeling student athletes as inner city kids who are struggling, because not everybody's like that. You know what I mean? You got scholarship kids who, coming from Beverly Hills.
Like we said, his family was airlines.
You know what I mean? So you can't group student athletes into that one grouping. You know what I'm saying?
What about stuff like that?
There are situations where the student athletes are playing for the back of the jersey because that their family, you know what I mean? Their family needs them to.
100%.
But there's probably more student athletes who are not playing for the back of the jersey
Right. Yeah, I agree.
than there are, because you think about football. Football is the main sport where you got a bunch of inner city kids who are really coming from nothing, who are going to the university, and
More so than basketball, you think?
and their family are at home struggling. But you think about basketball, they got like 10 kids on the roster.
True.
But football, and then you probably got, say you got 100 kids on that football roster, you probably got about 10, maybe 10 kids whose families are really, really struggling back on that roster. The rest of them, you know what I mean, they're coming from $500,000 homes, you know what I mean?
Or
They're
just
coming
getting
from,
a little
you know what I mean? Their parents are making
Yeah.
6 figures, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're right about that. What do
And
you think?
then you have other sports, hockey, their parents are well off.
Well,
Lacrosse.
to even pay to play for your kid to play hockey year round,
Lacrosse, their parents are well off. Baseball, a lot of their parents are well off.
We can't
So
just
this is
assume that.
more-
We can't just assume that.
You can't just assume that,
But you can tell the sport is
there's
sport.
a lot more
The
kids
cultural thing.
who have successful backgrounds than
Yeah, because I think, especially like you say baseball, I think a lot of kids get their collegiate looks, however, from travel ball,
That's
and
expensive.
that's expensive.
Expensive.
You know what I mean? Because I know a few people who stopped playing baseball just on the strength of we can't afford that. So like you said, I think a lot of other sports, their parents are well off. Basketball, you get a few, but you said the numbers is different, so that's why you got a lot more within football.
within football. And like you think about how much it costs, like you were saying, to play those sports. Football, you need a ball and some grass. You know what I mean? Basketball, you need a ball and a circle.
basket.
And a basket, you know?
Then,
Like
so do
you
you
talk
think
about hockey, you need all type of equipment. You need the helmets, the sticks, the ice skates. You know what I mean? You talk about lacrosse, you need the equipment. It's
Equipment.
Baseball, you need a bat, $250 bat.
it's
Look, listen,
$250
with
glove.
all that though being said, do you think that the next divisions down should be paid as well?
No.
Division 2 and
So
3?
only Division One,
I think only Division One.
Maybe 2?
one double A.
Maybe one AA.
1 double A for sure.
You think about how much revenue is one AA and Division Two bringing to the NCAA?
to the schools more so than not, I would say, but not the NCAA.
It probably costs more for the NCAA to promote one AA and D2 sports than they're making from those sports.
I think we're going to see an uptick in athletics just based on the pandemic, like what just happened and the people being at home and just watching sports. There's way more. I feel like there's a lot of people getting more into sports.
So what you saying, not paying one AA, I think now we're starting to transition the college level of playing ball to a business life. Because the sense now when a lot of kids transfer, a couple of them go transfer down to D1 AA, D2. Now it's going to get heavy recruitment to where I think that's going to kill off maybe Division II, not all the way, but it's going to water it down some.
100%.
Yeah,
You can't get paid. It's going to be something.
Because we're going to stay at this level regardless of anything. And so I think that's going to water down Division II ball.
Would you rather be paid in Division 1 or should go to?
I think the stipend across the board is from D1 to D2, because for scholarship athletes,
So do you think the livelihood of D2 sports,
but different amounts. I mean,
Yeah,
do you think the livelihood of D2 sports are one Division 1 transfers?
No.
but not to take away that a good amount. Because you think about when we was coming up, maybe in high school, Cal U PA was all Division 1 transfers.
Man, all the
And
they got paid a lot of money.
so
I see.
regardless there, all Division 1 athletes that transferred down, and I think more so back then than now, they were transferring down. So where now you see more so transferring up and whatnot.
I don't think the amount of Division 1 to Division 2 transfers is enough to say that they should get paid. I don't think they make a big
That's
enough
like saying
impact
that
on the Division
there's
Division 2 spectrum as a whole. I don't think there's a big enough impact. So I think if Division 1 players say, all right, I'm not going to transfer down to Division II because they don't pay. I don't think there's going to be much of a drop off at the Division II level.
I think that that we see a lot of what the NCAA wants us to see. You know what I'm saying? Like Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields and whoever is popping that year, that season, or for the past couple seasons. And if we wanted to, if there was more promotion, bro, we would know these players on every level. You know what I mean?
So they're not going to promote somebody who
Right.
nobody wants to watch.
And think about the hit that the NCAA took just this past year with COVID.
Oh, yeah, big time.
Bro,
So they're tight now.
you're right about that.
So you think about all that.
I think that, look, I feel like the financial literacy classes and all that, even like branding classes for these players, bro, will help every single player out.
And that's gonna be a big name image and likeness, topic too.
Yeah, branding.
But yeah, man, student athletes is being able to use, the universities and use these classes to continue to personal growth is, I'm all for it.
Right.
So,
Yeah, I agree. I think student athletes should get paid the amount up in the air, depending on. But I think it should be no less than $3,000 each semester. I think that's right there where you can live comfortable as a student athlete. And also, if mom is a little bit late on the rent here and there, you can throw her a couple dollars or whatever the case may be. So I think about roughly around between 3,000 and 5,000 student athletes should get a stipend each semester.
are you still on the payroll? Are you still on the payroll side after the conversation?
I'm like you said about up in the air. I'm on basing it on performance.
Still? You still basing it on
Yes,
performance?
Specifically because
So-
everybody's situation is different at home.
So,
you know what I mean?
so I'm gonna ask this question again.
All right, listen.
Are you firing student athletes if they're not performing? Are you sending them back to McKeesport?
I feel like they're going in anyway.
Say sending them back to the board. Hey, if you can't give me 10 times a game, you're going back to McKeesport, boy.
No, listen, stop.
You're on payroll.
Wait, listen, please, don't do this. Don't do this. I honestly believe that, listen, like you said, like DB said about the stipend. Stipend is good, bro, but I want to see financial literacy classes. I want to see branding classes, but that's another topic for naming, image, and likeness. And I also think that it's going to keep a lot more guys in school.
Gotcha.
If they pay.
Perfect, bro. So that's it, man. That's our thing. We all think student athletes should be paid. How they should be paid, the amount they should be paid is, everybody has a different perspective. So
He said, don't put them on.
Drop a comment. Let us know what you guys think, if student athletes should be paid or not, how much you think they should be paid, and let's continue the conversation in the comment section.
Hey, make sure y'all subscribe, man.
Hey,
Catch you
subscribe.
next time.
Shout out my boy Ed. Shout out my boy Ed. Good.
Hey,
G.
Shout out, baby Emery, baby DB. I see you.
Hey, with LeBay. Bye.
Hey, I ain't gonna say that.
You understand?